in and put it there, so that you can like move it, not look right here.
On time, just before.
Guess I may turn this off. Damn thing will start ringing if I don't.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome a very dear friend of mine whom I've known for many, many years and has honored me with his presence and his knowledge about autism and the many other activities that he's gotten into over the years. And he's also going to join us for our discussion on Temple Grandin's book. This is Jerimie, and he will tell you about himself, and I think you'll be fascinated. Jerimie, do you want people to interrupt you with questions, or would you prefer them wait till the end? Or
yeah, when I tell that story, yeah.
You'd rather them wait?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so just write down your questions if you have some, and you can answer them at the end. That way you won't forget your questions. Jerimie, go for it.
All right. Well, it's a really great pleasure to be here today. As Karen mentioned, we have been friends for, oh my goodness.
Let's not get into that.
Yeah. And I'd also like to welcome my best friend, Randy, and his wife, Debbie. Randy has been my school friend for 30 years, if you can believe that. I mean, he is, they'll say, your mom knows you best. Well, he's the next person that probably knows me. And the only person that probably knows me better than him would be my mom. So
Welcome to
show you the
our class.
kind of friendship that we have. He's about the closest thing to a brother that I have here. And stuff. We have a lot of good times, a lot of bad times we've shared together and whatnot. I'd like to get started with, we want to kind of talk to you a little bit about how I live with autism and kind of go through a little bit about how I overcame autism through what was from where I had really good early intervention, a really good family support structure that started early on, and I'll be talking a little bit about some of the some kind of therapies that I got that really would all just play like the vital role in my overcoming autism. And you'll kind of have to bear with me. I do have a little bit of a cold, so that's why I brought my slushie. And I promise, Karen, I didn't put anything extra in here.
Why?
I forgot to slur my words.
Jerimie, is the lighting okay for you?
Yeah. Oh, this is perfect. This is perfect. Well, for a very long time, I really didn't know why I had autism and why it affected me the way it did. And it wasn't until I was 18 years old and I was rummaging for some books one day at the house, and I came across a file folder, probably about that big, and that file folder had all of my documents of all of my therapy sessions that I had, and it had some what doctors were telling my parents at the time, and stuff like that. And it was when I started reading through that book, it was for the very first time, that was when I finally began to understand myself. I mean, that was when it finally kind of all came together. I have to say it was very shocking at times. It was pretty emotional at times to learn about that, and it was like, wow, did I really do that? Or I was like, oh, okay, that's why I had this particular habit, or something like that. And just from that point on, I started doing research on autism, how it affected me and how it affected others. And I remember the first time I looked up autism on the internet, one of the very first persons that I actually came across was Temple Grandin. And then a friend of mine loaned me a book one time, her book taking me pictures. And when I read that book, I really saw on myself for what she explains in that particular book. And even when I saw the movie, Temple Grandin, I saw myself in that too. And I've actually had met Temple twice. I met her once at an autism conference where I was presenting that, and then one time she came here to present, and she actually was able to come to one of our autism support groups at here in Birmingham, and got to actually spend some time over there. And I will tell you, meeting her for the first time like that was, for me, it was like going to meet Michael Jordan. Right? When I was 18 months old, I actually got diagnosed with early childhood autism. And I was actually diagnosed by an Army psychiatrist because my dad was in the military at the time. We were actually living in Europe when the diagnosis occurred because of my father's military obligations. And the military basically told my parents that there really wasn't much they could really do, but they found a program or a school that was close to a base. They would take care of our relocation arrangements. My first symptoms with autism started with being I had no verbal or any kind of communication skills. Instead of talking, I would often use hand gestures or scream at the top of my lungs, sort of stuff like that. I had a lot of noise sensitivity problems. I would become frightened if we were at the car repair shop and we were using the air guns or the power tools. I didn't like to be around that. And it's because the hearing that I have is louder than say a normal person's hearing. And one example I can give by that is I used to be a sound technician in my church. I would run the soundboard, make sure the preacher's mic is on when it needs to be. And if we're having somebody sing, I would be responsible for making sure the choir mics were turned on, make sure the mic was working right. There was one particular occasion where I was helping them set up for a concert, and I'm a former DJ, so I have some experience in setting up mics and working with PA system equipment. And as we were setting up speakers and mics, I started hearing a very low feedback coming from one of the speakers. And I went and told one of the guys, I said, better get that mic away, it's gonna shrill on you when you turn it up. And he just looked at me and said, I don't hear it. Go up to the speaker, you'll hear it. And well, I get busy doing something else, and of course, then there, and that one? He said, yeah, that's the one you heard that? I'm like, yeah, I did. I used to rock a lot, and I actually still do, especially whenever I listen to music. For me, rocking has always been a way to calm and comfort myself after like a bad day at work or at school, especially when I want to listen to music. I find music to calm or comfort myself. I also used to hand clap or do like spinning, those kind of like self-stimulating things that chances are Dr. Dahle probably talked all about. But rocking is one kind of stimulation I will still do to this day when I'm home by myself. I like to be very organized. I'm often very scheduled minded. I often keep a plan with me at all times. Going to a store like Office Max is almost like Candyland for me because of all the organization, things that they make. My smartphone has really been a lot of fun. With the calendar management that it has. And whatnot. I would often, when I was a lot smaller, I would often become very upset if like somebody went into my bedroom and put my toys in a different place after I had put them where I wanted them. Autism can also coexist with other disabilities. In my case, right after I got my autism diagnosis, I was also diagnosed by an eye doctor with severe myopia, which causes me to be extremely nearsighted. And because of the extreme nearsightedness that I have, I cannot drive anymore. And that is why I had to relocate to a big city like Birmingham, where I can utilize the public transportation system in order to go to work and get around and basically be independent. Autism can also, in some aspects, be a blessing in disguise, and where it may take away something, it often gives you a lot of things back to you. And one of the things I've always liked about my autism is right after my diagnosis, I really developed a really strong skill for art. I used to love to draw and sketch. I've always loved music. Early on, I recently started a little photography business. I really got into, when I first started drawing, I really got into drawing like mechanical, structural things. I used to love to draw planes. I used to love to draw maps, things like that. And I would sometimes look at like abstract or overlapping patterns and try to figure out ways how to recreate a pattern by drawing. And art and music have always been a very special part of my life early on. I actually ran a DJ business for 10 years, and I've always been interested in playing the drums and doing percussion off and on. I often use music to celebrate my accomplishments. One of my favorite movie soundtracks is Rocky, and my theme song has always been Eye of the Tiger. I often, when I have like something I'm just really excited about going to, whether it be a speaking engagement or just going to something I'm real excited about, I often like to use the soundtrack from Rocky. I listen to that on my MP3 player. That's kind of like my pet rally music. I I also have very good long-term memory. I have the ability to still remember things from as far back as when I was 18, 24 months. I can still, even when I got my autism diagnosis, I can still kind of remember, like where we were living at in Europe and kind of what I was doing. And a lot of what helps that is the music that I listen to. One of the things I'm really good at, I love to listen to classic rock music, and one of the things I'm really that I've always been kind of good at is I'll hear a song on the radio and not hear but maybe 4 or 5 chords, and can already tell you, who the artist is and who's in the band, and kind of give you some background information on the group and stuff like that. And these are some of the savant skills that were kind of exhibited in the movie Rain Man. Have any of y'all seen Rain Man? Mm-hmm. Okay. Which, just my personal opinion, I think Temple Grandin's movie was better. I have a favorite story I'd like to share with you. When we came back from Europe, we were staying with my grandmother for a few months in Anniston, which is my hometown. And we were going to stay there for a little bit until we knew kind of where we were going to go and what we were going to do. And my grandmother was just heartbroken over the fact that I didn't talk to her. And what she did to get me to talk would be probably the most pioneering example of why I really think early intervention or early diagnosis is so helpful and so beneficial the way it is. Well, every night when she would put me to bed, she'd always look at me and say, Mama, say Mama. And she did that persistently until finally one night I looked back at her and I said, Mama, back to Grandma. And that was how I finally began to talk for the first time. And when I did start talking, I was very eclectic. I just, whatever I heard, that's what I would repeat. After my parents did some really intensive research, they somehow learned about a very special program in North Carolina that's called TEACH. This was a program that is very unique, and I really feel to be in a class by itself that's located at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. This is where I would go to, and this is where I would receive all of my therapy and early intervention that would later to lead me to overcoming autism. To put it in a nutshell, my therapist, who you see in this picture here, basically took me from having no communication, no language, no speech, to having all of that by the time I was 7. And the way she did that was we would just spend time together doing just different vocabulary drills, and we would do language drills, and even social drills. And there were many times where we not only went to the center itself, but there were many times where she came to the house and actually did social drills and language drills at home. Because before my parents found out about this program, some of the doctors, some of my folks, that I was probably going to be institutionalized or something. And the TEACH program just did not believe in that. That's why they used this particular approach. I can tell you, before we came to this program, there was a couple of times where when some teacher was trying to get me to do something, if I didn't interact or respond, they would shoot water in my face. and it was sometimes sit on my legs. You gotta remember, I was diagnosed with autism in the 70s, and back then that was kind of common practice. Back in those days. I always made a promise to myself when I became a motivational speaker 14 years ago that I would someday return to this place and either be a keynote speaker or be one of the presenters. Very happy to say I finally got to do that back in 2007. I made my first trip back to Chapel Hill to be a presenter at their annual conference that they have every year. And that was my first time returning to teach in almost 30 years. And I'll just tell you, that was probably one of the most emotional presentations I ever did. But it was one I always wanted to do because of, as you've already noticed, this right here is kind of the centerpiece of the presentation. After we left the teach program and we came back to Alabama, it was recommended that I would be put into special ed classes. And although I was in special ed most of my life, and that's actually where I know my best friend Randy from, we were actually in the same class together. We actually grew up together. And we graduated from the same school just 2 years apart. I made a lot more progress in special ed than probably what they ever anticipated. And, although I was in special ed classes, I did get to participate in regular classes. I got to be a basketball player for 3 years, and then I became a team manager. I was very active in my art class, which I really enjoyed. I was really into, I took speech classes a lot, and I was in the drama team. And that was where I found my inspirations to be a motivational speaker later on in life. And what I really take from that is, what I really enjoyed about that was where I went to school at, the friends that I had there, including Randy, always were beside me. They always supported me. They always made sure that I was involved and interacted with others, and that was really very important. I think to my self-esteem, and that's one of the reasons why I love to stay active in many of the things, hobbies or things that I do today. After I graduated out of high school, I got involved with Vocational Rehab, and they sent me to the Alabama School for the Deaf and Blind in Talladega. And while I was going to school there, that was where I studied out. That's where I took computer classes. That's where I took some business office management courses there, and that eventually led me to moving to Birmingham and getting my first job and having an independent life. I'm happy to say I've been living independently in Birmingham for almost 20 years now, and have no regrets. I took another big step in life and became a homeowner, and this is my house. Back in 2005, I actually qualified for a special homeownership program that allowed me to obtain the money for a down payment, and also gave me some financial assistance with the closing costs, and I also had some good family support. That helped me along the way too. The reason why I share this is because before I bought this house, and when I was getting ready to move to Birmingham and be on my own for the first time, I actually had some counselors, I had some friends, and I had some family who told me that I'm probably going to end up in a group home. They told me I'd never make it in the big city. They told me I wouldn't do this. They told me I wouldn't do that. share this is because, you know, we do, just like everybody else, we can live, we can and we will live the American dream. I have been gainfully employed with the Alabama Department of Rehab Services for 18 years. And I will say it's been a very exciting time for me. And it's really been a great place to really find really great opportunities to really get into the disability community. And I've got these. When I first started working with the Alabama Department of Rehab Services, I was still reluctant to talk about my experiences with autism because I didn't know how people would react or understand. But when I did start to do that, a lot of my colleagues would come to me and say, you know, hey, you need to, you know, be an advocate or get into public speaking on that, or even, you know, try to write a book or something, stuff like that. And so it just so happened one of our conferences was actually having a workshop on autism, and I contacted the person that was doing the workshop, and kind of told them a little bit about myself. And I just basically asked, would you like me to come and speak? And they just, you know, took me in like that with open arms. And ever since that happened, my work has been able to allow me to develop a platform and support system, where I was able to become a motivational speaker and go out and actually tell my story like I tell it to the kids. And they have always been very supportive of me of that, just like my friends that I had in school. And it's just been a very exciting time with that. And ever since that, I've gone on to be a motivational speaker at different, some national conferences, which is what Temple Grandin. I do serve on some boards. I serve on the Alabama Interagency Autism Council. I actually serve on an advisory board here at UAB that's associated with the University Center for Excellence in Disabilities. So I serve with that, and it's just been a really great ride, and the best is still yet to come. I'd like to kind of close with saying I recently started getting into photography because I love, because photography has allowed me to finally reconnect with my artistic self again. And my best friend Randy will tell you, if we ever talk about photography, the first thing he will tell you is, yeah, for somebody that can't see worth a darn, he can take a good photo. That has been our little running joke that we've always had. Some of my favorite subjects that I like to do is aviation, as you saw in the book. Some of these photos that you see in the book are where I've done like special weekend trips to certain airports. And I'll spend like a whole weekend at an airport that I know has some really good observation places, and we'll take pictures of like planes all day long. Another thing I like to do is I love to do scenery and landscape photography. I've done a lot of traveling over the last 4 or 5 years. I've gotten to go to Ireland. I've been to San Francisco. I've been to Hawaii. In Carmel Beach. I've had lunch in the Hogs Broken restaurant, which is owned by Clint Eastwood. And that's where some of my photography work comes from. And I'd just like to end with saying that, you know, got yourself a dream, work on it, believe in yourself, because I know dreams do come true. And right now, we'll, if I want to, we'll go ahead and move into some questions. I know Dr. Dahle wanted to really kind of ask me some things about the book, about Temple Grandin's book, stuff like that.
Well, Jerimie,
Yeah.
before we talk about the book and how you relate to it, some of the candidates may have some questions about your PowerPoint.
Okay.
May they ask you some questions?
Sure.
Anybody? Or do you keep feeling shy? It's unelected to feel shy.
I was gonna say.
Okay.
I promise
We
I
have
won't
a
throw anything.
comment.
I have a comment, not a question, but I just wanted to tell you that when I got to see Temple Grandin, she's on my movie, and I felt like I became Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
similar. I was like, oh, very similar in that aspect.
Yeah.
I had a question about this sensory aspect from your
Okay.
perspective, and you said that you still rock, but I was going to ask about the hand flapping. What would you equate that sensation? Is there any other activity that
Happy.
and
Being
it just brings you joy just to do it, like
Yeah,
happy like you're
excitement.
getting tickled, or just happy that somebody told you a joke? I'm just trying to understand what it would be like for a lot of our kids that engage in that behavior.
Yeah, it was like being happy or getting excited at something that I liked, something like that.
And so just the feedback, once you start doing it, that's just the overwhelming
Yeah.
feeling that you would have.
Being happy.
And then I had another question. When you hear words, and this is in Temple Grandin's book, she thinks in pictures.
Yeah.
And there was another book of a man that was describing, he thought in colors. Like the words would trigger colors in his mind.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
And I didn't know if it was like that for you, and if you could explain just kind of right now when I'm speaking to you, how does your brain picture what I'm saying?
Right now, I see you as you.
Mhm.
The light in the movie, Temple Grandin, a lot of times when I heard something, remember how in the movie when she heard something, it would like show a visual?
Mhm.
That's what I would see.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I would always see.
I also had a question as far as like sensory. When you said, you still continue to rock, but now that it's like after a long day at work, you'll go home and, you'll rock more. What was the process like of learning, or accepting I can still rock, but I can go home and do it. I don't have to. Was it hard?
Maturity and being kind of self-conscious about it. Being a little self-conscious.
I have a question about that.
Yeah.
Oh, was it finished? One of the students that I work with, she does a lot of finger flapping, and I don't know if she does it because she's nervous. Seems like to me, even when she's calm, she's doing that. Would you? I'm just thinking back to when you were a child. Is that a thing that we should allow her time to do, or I don't?
Yeah.
Because you said
sounds like stimulation.
Yeah, it's like you said it's like maturity for you, and then you were self-conscious too. I don't want to create a sense of shame for her to.
Yeah, please don't do that.
I mean, so just allow her to do that.
Yeah, because I think I know, I can only tell you from my experience, it seemed like as I got older with it, I became more kind of self-conscious about it. It's not something I want to be seen by, friends who know me from outside. Randy, like somebody like Randy here, I would be okay because, you know, he's seen me that way since I was 8 years old. But, you know, I would be probably more self-conscious about it, you know, if one of y'all was over my house. You know, I wouldn't do it in front of y'all, yeah. I'd probably be okay to do it in front of him.
Some teachers are encouraging her to put her hands in her pocket. I'm just wondering if that's the way to go about it, or just allow her to kind of.
That's still, you know, I mean, I know that can be kind of a dicey situation.
Another issue about your photography in the book, it suggests that typical individuals see the big picture, and individuals with autism concentrate on specifics. Do you see yourself as a photographer zeroing in on specifics of the picture instead of seeing a sunset as a whole sunset? You see the mountain as just, you know, that one tiny tree that's on the mountain in the sunset, or how do you see it in relationship?
When I do aviation photography, I'm centering on the subject, on the airplane, and not really always paying attention to what's outside. Sometimes that can actually kind of be a good thing. I don't know if you noticed when the book went around, there's a photograph of a plane taking off and like the moon and
Yes, I did. I love that.
I didn't see that. Well, see, I didn't notice that until I went back.
Wow.
Until I went back, you know, until I went and downloaded my photos on the computer.
Well, incredible.
Oh,
yeah.
I know. When I went and looked at it, I was like, oh, nice.
Boy, am I good.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, my goodness, you see craters on that moon.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I loved it. Yeah. But I just wondered if you did that too. You zeroed in on the specific and not the general.
Right. Yeah. It depends on the situation. Now, landscape, that can be, you know, because because landscape, you do like scenery photography, you want. Yeah. Now, sometimes I might be paying attention to several different things, especially if I'm doing like a skyline shoot or something, which I've done several of. I've done a bunch of those in Birmingham, which I love to do. And I'll tell you, Birmingham's rich. There's some really cool architecture, especially like around here in the downtown area. Yeah, that can be a little tricky, you know, I still manage.
You said your memory, you had memory from like 18 months old?
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. But you said, I know in the Temple Grandin book, she talks about as she learns new information, it's like adding to a computer. I think that's the example she uses. And your memory, you have memories of from so young. How is that for you? Are you just adding on? Is it more like the adding on process and of adding things like a computer type thing, or do you have it in like sections? This is when I was younger.
Yeah.
This is when okay.
I have it in places.
Little set compartments.
I have a little filing cabinet.
Yeah. And you apparently you access it very well depending on what you need.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, same concept.
I know in Temple Grandin's book she talks about how like different transitions of her life she pictures a door and she has to walk through it. Did you have a lot of anxiety issues with moving on from like graduating high school to moving out, or
yes.
And how did you picture, have a certain picture in your head to help you get through that?
Yeah, I used like Temple, I used the door a lot. I used the door visual a lot. I will say when I graduated high school, I actually got kind of depressed about it because I had such a good support structure there of friends and the social network and things that I was really involved in. So yeah, I was actually depressed about that for probably about a year before I finally started going to school in Talladega and started doing stuff there, and then kind of, you know, that depression kind of tapered off. And then of course it got better, you know, when I got ready to move, you know, to move here.
How did you approach your parents when you found the file?
I just asked them, I was like, do I really like this? And fortunately, my mom, you know, was really good about telling me things and whatnot. And she just, you know, kind of explained to me. She's like, "Hey, Dad, you remember the chalkboard? You know, my folks gave me a chalkboard when I was probably about 4 to encourage me to draw like to make to use for like social visual cues. And she talked to me when she first told me about that. I was like, oh, yeah, well, that makes sense. And stuff.
So did you not know that you were autistic up until the time you found the file?
That's right. Yeah, pretty much.
And how old were you when you found it?
18 years old. Yeah. And I mean, I found it by accident. I mean, I went to the attic of our house to get something else. And when I was trying to get what I was going to get, the book just fell on the floor. Like, right at my feet. And it was like, hey, open me.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it would have benefited you to know that before that point?
I don't know. That is still something I still kind of wrestle with today. About that. I can say that, I mean, like I was saying early on, I mean, I knew things were different, but I did not know why, or what, or how. Like I said, when I found the book, that's when it all made sense for the first time.
I have a friend who has a son in high school who is on the spectrum, and she called me concerning college. So how was it, I know you said you were depressed when you left high school, but what advice would you give me to relate to her as to preparing her son, because he's high on the spectrum, he's very smart, but she's concerned about him going off. She wants him to go, but she's talking about relocating with him.
Yeah.
You know, or whatever, but what advice would you have for her and her son?
Just, you know, kind of go with the flow. I mean, I know, whatever you do, don't be overprotective.
She's very
And I've had to fight that. I've had to fight that with my own family over the years. In fact, one example I can give is when I decided that I wanted to move, you know, to the big city, was during my time in Talladega. I realized, you know, living in Talladega was just not going to cut it because of transportation. I had no friends there because I grew up, you know, I grew up in Houston. And that's when, you know, my mom was good about it, but my stepdad at first was very oppositional about it, and when he would, you know, whenever he would try to get, you know, kind of high and mighty about it, that's when I just had to put him in his place. It's like, look, this is going to happen. I'm going to do this. I mean, you can get on board with me or get out of the way. Kind of tell his point blank.
But at that point, you had the skills necessary to do that, you know, and you knew in your heart and in your mind that that was a feasible thing for you to do, did you not?
What?
At that time, you knew that you had the skills to make that step.
Yeah.
So when you said to yourself and to your stepdad, I'm going to do this, you knew that you could be successful because you had those skills capable within yourself.
Yeah, that's it.
learning to read and what that was like for you, and kind of tie that in with the visual strategy.
Well, our special ed teacher that Randy and I had growing up, her name is Miss Pogue. She basically would take, especially when I was mainstream in a regular class, a lot of what she would do is she would take their material and just like bring it to my level, if you will. And that could vary from, for example, like a test. That could be maybe having a test that has multiple choice or offers true or false, because she knew I, could get it that way. Whereas the test itself might be, if I had to write, a paragraph or something like that, or you don't get multiple choice options and whatnot. So she did a lot of that, and that's what I probably benefited probably the most, and that's how I was able to meet the requirements and still participate in that particular class.
So you really didn't visualize at that point?
Actually, yeah, actually not, believe it or not.
How did that stop, or when did that go away, or how did you compensate?
I would say it probably stopped around when I was probably about 10. That's kind of when I got better with, got a little bit better with comprehending things. And math, I could not do math to save your life. Randy could tell you that. But of course, Randy's probably had, a spelling. So I would help him spell, he would help me add. That was our trade-off.
How is Ms. Cole with you different from what the teacher at the university did? What did she do differently, or was it the same?
It was actually almost the same.
Okay. Were you visual? I'm sorry.
I saw her hand go up.
It was, Dr. Dahle actually hit on it as well, it was which subjects were most difficult for you in school.
Yeah.
And
Math.
what would be the worst thing that a teacher said to you and the best thing a teacher said to you?
Probably the worst thing I ever heard, and this was before I went into private school. I did go to public school for a little while until I was 8. In fact, Randy and I met each other when we were both enrolled in the same private school located in Oxford. The worst thing I probably ever heard was just you're worthless. You'll never make it. Actually, the straw that kind of broke the camel's back when my parents decided, okay, we're done with public school. This is where we draw the line. There was an incident one time where we were playing baseball out on the playground, and didn't quite understand the game yet, or how we were going to play it. And I got ready to go up to bat, and I thought, once I batted, I was had to run the bases, and so I batted and got ready to run the bases, and they told me to stop, stop at first base. And so I did, and I did not realize I was supposed to, when the other person batted, that I was supposed to continue running, to get the rest of the bases.
They didn't touch you the rules.
Right. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, and the next
you were to give us advice, what are the best things teachers can do to help people on the spectrum?
Just always be positive, never be nothing negative. You know, unless it's constructive criticism, that's, you know, constructive criticism is fine, but just criticism in general is not fine. That's what I've always found, found to be helpful. Just, use reward. One of the things Peach did really emphasize on was kind of like the reward and punishment. But you have their punishment, I would say it's a lot more positive than punishment rather than getting shot in the face with water or having someone sit on my lap. Their punishment was more like taking a toy away or time out.
Okay, so when you are, if you remember being engaged in the sensory behaviors, and I think this is one of the hardest things as a teacher, because it does help to calm you down.
Yeah.
And I know you touched on it with the girl with the finger movement. At the same time, you don't want to startle somebody and leave them anxious. So I guess my question would be, what is the easiest way to